Okay, so let's talk about how in JavaScript arguments to functions are passed by value sometimes and passed by reference sometimes. So to clear that up, let's just go ahead and say right now that whenever you have a primitive like a boolean or an integer, or in JavaScript it's number, I believe, or a number or a string or null or undefined, you're passing by value. So let's say primitives are passed by value. And then objects are not, which is where so many people get kind of confused. Objects are passed by reference. Okay? Now what does that mean? Let's go ahead and demonstrate it, because that'll probably be the best way for you to see, what's really happening. So what we're gonna do is create a function, and we're gonna pass some stuff into it, and we're gonna change it, and we're gonna see what happens. So first, let's just declare the simplest variable we can think of. So let's say let's pick a number. Let's say 5 is 5. Okay, very simple. Now what we'll do is we're going to create a function that let's make it multiply whatever we pass into it, and what it's going to do after that is it's just going to print that out. Okay, so we'll just say x equals x. Let's multiply it by something easy. Let's say 10, so that simple to follow, and then we'll just console log that. Okay, we'll console log x. Now, just for the sake of demonstrating this, let's just, for right now, let's just console log 5. Okay, so I'm not calling this function yet. What's going to happen with 5? Okay, we're just console logging this 5 here. Very simple. Let's do node, and my file is pass by. And oh, whoops, I gotta comment this out. So how do you comment? I believe you go v down, and then boom. That should work. Cool. Let's do it again. Okay. Okay, so very simple. We get our 5 back, right? Because we just console log the 5. Now let's actually call our multiply function. So we'll say multiply, and we're gonna pass in 5. Okay, our 5 variable up here. We're gonna pass it in as an argument. So what's this gonna do? Well, as we said, it takes x, which in our case is 5, right here, and we're going to multiply it by 10 and then print it out. Okay, so see how we're assigning it back to x. Okay, so in this case, what should multiply return, right? So let's go ahead and let's comment this out. So we only have one line. Now what should this return? Well, let's go ahead and try it out. 50, right? Because you passed in 5 and you're multiplying it by 10 and then you're printing it out. Pretty straightforward, right? Now if I asked you, now that we've changed inside of our function x, does that change this 5 variable? Excuse me. And we'll take a second to think about it. Go ahead and pause the video if you want. But I'll just go ahead and tell you that the answer is no, because what happens here is we are passing by value. We're not passing in the memory address of this essentially in your computer or wherever it's stored. What we're doing is basically creating a duplicate of this and then using it, and then this remains unchanged. So watch, I'll just show you right here. We're going to say this is our first one, and then our second one, we're just going to console log 5 again. So what should be, we're going to get 2 lines here, okay? What should be our 2 lines? Take a second if you'd like, and I'll just tell you right now, it's going to be either, not either, it's going to be 5, and then right here, or excuse me, this is going to be 50 because we're using our function, and this is going to be 5. Check it out. See that? So we call multiply 5, and we get 50 as we did in our function, and then console log 5 here, which we changed in here in our function, but that doesn't change the actual 5, which is stored in memory somewhere with a specific address, which is like a hex code, not a hex code, it's a long code of numbers with some letters in there that that's stored. So we're creating a copy essentially and using that inside of our function. Okay, so that's pass by value. It's fairly straightforward. Let's do it with an object. which is where a lot of people get confused because objects in JavaScript are passed by reference, okay? So not by value. So let's go ahead and comment this out. We're going to do v, go all the way down, comment that out. Okay, good. So let's make some space here. An object, and arrays too. Arrays are objects. So basically primitives are passed by value, objects by reference. So let's create an object. We're just going to say let the name object equals, we'll just make a very simple object here, and we're going to say our first name is Consuela. I like that name. And the second is banana hammock. Is that how you spell hammock? I'm not sure. Either way, whatever. Cool name. So Consuela banana hammock is our object. So watch this. We're just going to console log name object. Straightforward, right? What should we get? Consuela banana hammock. Okay, pretty simple, right? So just for demonstrative purposes, let's put a 1 there. So that's the first time we print it out. We're just going to get the regular object, right? The second time, let me make some more space here. Whoops. The second time we are going to create a function, okay, that actually changes it. So let's say function change name. We'll pass in an object, and we are going to change, let's change the first name. So we'll say object first. Let's change the name to Rachel, okay, and we will, let's print it out. So console log the entire object that we changed. Simple enough. So let's call it. So we'll say change name, and we're going to pass in the name object, which in this case is Consuela banana hammock up here, and we'll see what happens, okay? So let's do it. You know what? Let me comment. Actually, I'll just leave it so you can see this number 1. So that's number 1. We'll make this number 2. So what's it going to print out? Our first one is going to be Consuela banana hammock, just like last time. And our second one is actually changing the first key, the first property of that object, and it's making it Rachel. So we should get Rachel banana hammock. Great. So watch this. This is the cool part about passing by reference, or at least the tricky part. It's pretty cool in my opinion. A lot of people think it's confusing, but whatever. This is the way the language was designed. So once we print out, once we change an object with a function, it's passed by reference. So we are going to console log it again, and what do you think will happen? Now remember, when we passed by value up here, once we were done with the function, we essentially made a copy. Once we printed it again here, it returned the 5 variable. Again, it returned 5. It didn't return 50, remember? Once we do that with our object, it's going to be different. Okay, so watch this. We should get 1, 2, 3. What do you think number 3 is going to be? And if you said Rachel, well, you were correct. So as you can see, after we change an object with a function, it's essentially changing the actual object, the actual in-memory saved object. Okay, it's passed by reference. A reference to that place in your disk or wherever it's storing it is actually being changed. All right, so it's not making a copy, it's changing the original one. So that's passed by reference. And JavaScript has both. As a rule of thumb, just everything is passed by value except objects. And objects include arrays, okay, so don't forget that. So I hope that made it a bit clear. You're able to understand passed by value and passed by reference. Ruby is also passed by reference, or passed by value, I'm sorry, I keep doing that. Passed by value. And so is Go and Java and a couple other languages. So I hope that cleared that up, and go ahead and try it out, mess around with it, and let me know if you have any questions. Good luck.